Hey guys, and welcome to the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast with me, Alex Whiteley. And today, we're finally bringing you the episode featuring the amazing John Edwards. This guy has created such a great positive buzz in Shrewsbury, Shropshire, and around the country too, possibly the world. I don't know. John has started a movement of sign cleaning. I mean, I don't know if he started it, but certainly here in Shrewsbury and Shropshire, he's created quite a big buzz. He started cleaning signposts last year, created a lot of momentum on his social media. People really digging what he was doing. And me, myself, I loved seeing what he was doing. And I watched him grow and grow and grow. And you may remember I was going on about how we went to Greyfriars Bridge with John, with Alex Wagner, the mayor. We painted the big black metal iron sides of the bridge. We went to House Coffee. We recorded a brilliant interview. Thank you, Sam, by the way, for letting us come to House and do that. We took the interview home, and I transferred my audio over, and it disappeared into the universe somewhere. It's floating. I don't know what happened. I explain in this episode what I think happened, but this is take two. John came around my house. We had a cup of coffee, should I say. We sat and we chatted. He brought some photos for me to look at. I think this was a better way of doing it. I kind of like it. It was a good vibe. So that's what we've got to bring to you today. Got a couple of really cool podcasts lined up as well in the future, which I'll tell you about at the end of this feature. And as I'm recording this, it's 5 days before we go to the UK Independent Podcast Awards in London. Very busy day. In the morning, we're going to be meeting with the executives from Apple Podcasts, which is cool, at Battersea Power Station. And then in the evening, we've got the awards ceremony. So we've got a whole day in London because we've been nominated for the Lifestyle Award. So there's 6 in our category. And I'm very chuffed, very happy with that, just for that in itself. So if we pick up an award, I'll be happy. If we don't pick up an award, I'll be happy. Just to add to it as well, I'm going to finally meet in the flesh Ant McGinley. You may have heard me mention Ant a few times on the podcast. We've worked together for a long time, for many years. I did voices for his podcast On the Left Side. He'd get me to do Jurgen Klopp impressions and things like this. I'd send the voices over and he'd throw them into his podcast. That was an award-winning podcast too. I also did voices for Wrestling with the Champ, which was another award-winning podcast that Ant made. And we've been working together for a while. He's been on podcasts of mine as well, but we never met. He's like up north and all that, Manchester way, and I just never venture up north that often. So it'd be great to press flesh against that guy. And thank you so much for your support over the years, Ant. So I'll let you know how that goes in the next episode. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you this legend now. Honestly, you're going to love him. This is the brilliant John Edwards, the sign guy or the buff guy, whichever. He prefers different things, but yeah, this is John Edwards. Enjoy. Hey guys, so today we're redoing this interview. We've done this once before, but Alex and technology don't really go very well together. So we did this interview at House Coffee. I took the audio home. I went to upload it to my laptop from my microphone, and then the audio disappeared into the universe with Sputnik or wherever that went. And so today we're speaking to John Edwards, the sign guy, He's gathered quite a bit of fame across Shrewsbury and Shropshire. I mean, possibly the world. I mean, you're doing some numbers on social media right now. Cleaning signs, getting rid of graffiti, painting over graffiti, making our town something to look at and be proud about. Right, John?
Well, yes, hopefully. I mean, I started 18 months ago now, in March last year, with one particular sign. As you come into Shrewsbury, there's one sign I've always liked, and it just reads, Shrewsbury, a medieval town, and it was pretty grotty. So I went out there one day with some kitchen cleaner and a bit of old rag, but unfortunately these things aren't meant to be reached, and it was like 10 foot off the ground. So I went out the next day with a mop and managed to clean it. Came up a treat on London Road there by Elmstree Island, and I sort of got addicted then. It gave me such a buzz. I started going around the outside of Shrewsbury, finding all these white signs, these specially commissioned signs. Every single entry road into Shrewsbury, major road, has got a sign that reads, "Welcome to Shrewsbury, birthplace of Charles Darwin," which is fairly unique. But I found, as I was going around trying to find these things to see if they were filthy, half of them were buried in bushes. So after that, after a few weeks and months, I decided to use the motorbike, use leathers, because I was getting cut to bits with brambles and all this stuff, going out with secateurs, and I did all those. And then basically I had to go a bit further to get my buzz. So I did basically the whole of Shropshire from up the top at Chirk, all the way down to Tenbury Wells, across to Clenamonach and across towards Cosford. Always seeking out the filthiest, most disgusting signs I could possibly find. I joined Facebook pages and asked them where their filthy signs were. And I just do it for one day a week. I'm completely mad. I do it for one day a week.
I can imagine you turn up some service station, I know, in Nestcliff and going, "You got any days?" Cleaning.
I only go for the absolutely filthiest ones, and I take before and after pictures.
Calm down, listeners. We've been legit here. I love this though, because I feel like there's a large portion of people out there that gets satisfaction of seeing things clean, or like just seeing things like, when you like hoover up a bit of flour or something, and it goes up perfectly, or a hoover fits into a certain spot, or something gets popped. I don't know. Like there's satisfaction out of taking things that are like broken or dirty and making them clean again. Do you reckon that's what kind of it is for you? The satisfaction of fixing something.
Well, I was a sheet metal worker for 50 years, and I was part of a great team of guys. 25 years at Doncaster's on the Whitchurch Road. It's closed down now, sadly, but it's the Sentinel Works. And I used to love fixing things. People used to come to me on night shift who'd made a little scratch on something and it would have ruined the job. Can you fix this? And by the morning I'd get it fixed. And that was a great buzz. So I'm also a Virgo, and the problem with Virgo males is if something's not right, it's wrong. I can't rest until I've done something about it, So that's basically what's driven me on to do this stuff. And of course, when we got the Djurgården Stockholm stickers everywhere from the railway station to the football ground, and they destroyed part of the football ground, that got me on a bit of a thing removing those all along the
I was a bit appalled by all that. I mean, I'm a big Shrewsbury Town fan. We're at every home game when I'm not working. And when I saw that, it didn't just rile me because it wasn't nothing to do with Shrewsbury. It wasn't even us that was playing. No. It was what they did to our town. And I know you could probably get away with that. I don't know what it is in sort of European cities like Madrid and Rome and stuff. They don't seem to mind the graffiti. I don't understand that at all.
I think there's so much of it, but my big thing is Shrewsbury's a medieval town, and people come visiting here to see a bit of medievalness. Yeah. Not a load of stickers from somewhere. I mean, we're not even twinned with Djurgården Stockholm, are we?
Not even close. So it did annoy me a little bit. So it was nice to see someone with the same sort of not even the same. That kind of it kind of angered you to the point where you're like, I need to fix this. And that was like, this show has been like, it came out of pride. It came from seeing young people stopping and taking pictures on Greyfriars Bridge and being proud of the town they live in. Also for the Love of Shrewsbury, that group there, amazing group of people that share photography about the town they're proud of. And then the people like you, John, that actually take a step above and beyond to keep this town looking and feeling as great as it is. So yeah, you inspired me a lot.
Well, I'm a bit of a mission at the moment. I'm looking for bigger and bigger things to do. One of the first ones, of course, was the Telepost Club. Somebody said that's horrible, covered in graffiti. So I got a few guys together from my page, and we painted it and cleaned it in 2 mornings, and it's absolutely brilliant. And from there, you look up Belmont Bank, and you'll see the Lion Hotel boiler house door was covered in graffiti. So anybody walking up Belmont Bank would be confronted with this horrible thing. Now, of course, at the front of the Lion Hotel, it's pristine. But at the back, unfortunately, I call it fur coat and no knickers, but that's just where it looks. And so that was the next thing to be done. And then, of course, there was the the big thing, which was Colham School Assembly Talk.
That was after we did the bridge, and we'll come back to the bridge in a second because it's a thorn in my side. Me personally, but we did a great job on Greyfriars Bridge. But the talk at the school was nice to see that this thing is gaining momentum. You're doing talks in schools. My son was there.
The only one before that I'd done was actually a Rotary Club talk out at Bicton with 12 people, all in their 80s. And I think I frightened those to death, really, with my presentation. I get a bit enthusiastic. Margaret Thrower was there, and she absolutely loved it when I whipped my top off, exposing the muscle T.
The muscle T-shirt, the famous muscle T-shirt. Yeah. Lots of people stopping getting you photos. When we were on Greyfriars Bridge, okay, so about 3 weeks ago, John and Alex Wagner, the mayor, they met on Greyfriars. I turned up as well and helped out. We were painting the giant iron sidings of Greyfriars Bridge that were covered in graffiti. Really nice morning. Lots of human traffic over that bridge. Lots of people recognising you, pointing, "Oh, right, mate, how's it going?" How's that feel for you? You're a bit of a rock star now.
Well, I'd like to make a bit of a performance out of it, really. I've joined Spotify now, so now I play my own music tracks. And Racing in the Street's one of my favourites, and Purple Rain by Queen, so you'll probably get that tomorrow. And Rouse Hill, as you walk up Rouse Hill tomorrow when I'm cleaning those awful graffiti tagged hoardings as you walk up Rouse Hill that used to be the Wilco building. There's 2 black ones there, so I'm going to be working on that tomorrow morning. But by the time this podcast goes out, I suppose I'll have done that.
Yeah, sure. So let's talk about like the beginning of the momentum, like when you first did that first sign, and you've thrown pictures up. Did the momentum start straight away on social media? Did people jumping on and stuff?
No, not really. In fact, for the first 3 months, I was posting on a Facebook page called Stunning Shropshire. Then it had 55,000 members. But it's mostly professional photographers, pictures of the Dingle and the Longmynd and all this business. And unfortunately, I hog their feed a bit because putting pictures of before and after filthy signs, sloppy salop as I called it, was so popular that it stayed at the top of their feed for weeks on end.
It became the John show.
Yeah, and then one of the professional photographers has said, "I'm leaving this site. It's not about sign cleaning. It's about promoting Shropshire." And I made the classic mistake of saying, the comeback of, "It's not an airport, mate. There's no need to announce your departure." And of course I was instantly banned. So that's when I started my own Facebook page, Sign and Graffiti Cleaning Enthusiasts UK. That's taken off. And thankfully, because I tell people how I do it and why I do it, they're doing it in their own areas, which is a terrific buzz. And people who thought there'd never be a Facebook page like this have come to it and said, "I've been doing this for years, and I never thought you could actually post a before and after and actually get a cheer for it." Well, that's what we do. We sort of encourage people to sort of be a little bit positive, get out there, clear gutters. And my major thing at the moment is the drain in Raybrook Avenue, Shrewsbury. It's just, for about 20 years, that's been blocked. You can have a little swim in there every time it rains.
Yeah. It's nice that you're a bit of a trendsetter, because you are encouraging people to roll the sleeves up and have a bit of pride in their town. And I think that's like an old-fashioned sort of sense of pride in your town.
Oh, my mother used to polish the step every morning in Cottridge, where I used to live in Birmingham. Every Sunday morning. Dad would go out and sharpen the knife on the back step, and Mum would be out cleaning the front. We had 5 major buses passing our road on the Persia Road, and it was a very busy road. Of course, it covered in dust, and every week the place needed cleaning. But our house was absolutely perfect outside, and that's the pride people used to have before they decided to leave it all to the council. I get loads of Facebook warriors saying, "That's what I pay my council tax for."
I saw that the other day.
New day, dear.
Yes, but the council tax only goes so far. Do you know what I mean? It's. I feel like I wouldn't say it's our responsibility to make it look good again, but I think it's our responsibility to stop it looking bad. I think that's the difference.
Of course, yeah. I mean, so many people don't even see the stuff now. They're walking around, staring at their phones, or they've got earphones in or whatever. It's become a society of singular people. And sometimes I like to walk up and sort of ask them a question and startle them.
We went to watch an England game at Villa Park a few weeks ago. And we were walking through Birmingham. We parked at one place and walked through Birmingham to Villa Park. And of course, I know Birmingham had just had those problems with the rubbish. They couldn't get them empty because the council went bankrupt. But you could go from one side of Birmingham to the other, and we found parts for a whole bedroom. We found gamer chairs, we found PC monitors, keyboards, we found bikes, we found clothes, we found chests of drawers, we found beds, all the way through Birmingham. And again, this isn't me slamming on Birmingham. It's a big, big, big place, and they've had problems. But I'd hate to think for Shrewsbury to become something.
No. I lived in Birmingham for the first 33 years. I was born in Birmingham. And it got so bad. I mean, this was back in 1987. We moved out to New Zealand for 4 years. And that's
sayonara, go in.
Yeah, I can do the Maori haka, but that's when you find out, about homesickness. But you'd think New Zealand, Auckland is a wonderful place, and it is. But when you've got to work there, you don't get to see anything, and also you miss things like country lanes. New Zealand's only 200 years old, and you go down a main road, turn off what looks like a country lane, it turns into a farm. That's when you appreciate all these Roman roads and the beauty and railways. There's only one railway track goes down to Wellington, and that's your lot. So I was terrifically homesick, and we came back after 4 years.
I love country roads in the UK. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with enjoying a good drive in the country. And I just like leaning into the corners and
especially on the motorbike. Yeah, it's great.
I bet. So when you get that momentum going, what do you do with that? I mean, like you're doing your thing anyway, regardless. You're not doing it for social media. You're doing it for your own sort of public service.
Social media, don't get me wrong, social media helps. I like to put on a bit of a show when I'm out there in my muscle.
I've seen it, yeah. Giving up postcards and things. I love that. Yeah,
it's the... actually, I did an interview when I first started with Adam Green on Radio Shropshire. And at the end of it, he speaks about this on Radio Shropshire. He said, I've worked for Radio Shropshire for 21 years and no one has ever, at the end of an interview, given me a signed photograph of themselves saying, congratulations, you've just met John Edwards. And I thought, I've got to do more of these.
I love that because it's very tongue-in-cheek, isn't it? It's fun. Yeah. It's just a bit of fun. What's that?
You never know where these things are going to land either, They could be on somebody's mantelpiece for years, and somebody picks it up. Who's this? What's this about? It's sign cleaning. Oh no, it's graffiti. Oh no, it's something else. Well, there's so much we can do around Shrewsbury. At the moment, I'm tentatively looking at the main Riverside car park, where the council buildings are. If you look to the left, the actual supports for that bridge are covered in graffiti, and I'd like to paint them blue and yellow. And the guys at the Shrewsbury Men's Shed volunteered to make me a stencil template, and it'll just be Shrewsbury and a heart on it. And when it's all done blue and yellow, I'm going to put Shrewsbury and a heart, I love Shrewsbury in other words, on there. My own little bit of positive graffiti when I've rubbed up all the bad stuff.
I love that. I love that so many people are rushing out to help you because it's such a good thing that you're doing. You've had lots of help from people, haven't you? Lots of people donate.
The secret to it has been I usually work on Fridays. I say work, it's more of a hobby. And I put out on, say, Tuesday or Wednesday, where I intend notice of intention to wipe or paint. If anybody would like to join me and private message me, and then 2 or 3 people will come out and lend a hand, which is great, and people say, I've always wanted to do this. Well, why didn't you do it? But
you're inspiring people to get out there and do it, though, and that's what I love about it.
I always thought I was going to get into trouble until one day last June, I was on the bypass cleaning the River Severn sign, and it was filthy. So I waited and waited, and I couldn't get quite close enough to be safe on my bike. And then the council came along, or the highways, and they cut the grass on the safe side of the barrier. So I got to it, I cleaned it, I was on my push bike, put all my stuff away, and it looked great. River 7 sign just off Empstree on the bypass. And all of a sudden this police van came screeching up. And I thought, oh, Christ, some regulations, some health and safety thing.
I'm going to jail.
Don't pass go. So anyway, the window came down. He said, excuse me, mate. He said, have you had an accident? Is trouble? A big gulp. And I said, no, I've just been cleaning this sign.
I'm not doing anything, officer.
He said, oh, thank you, and sped off. And from that moment on, I was never embarrassed about cleaning signs again. And that's when I started to sort of come out the closet as a sign cleaner.
Come out the sign cleaning closet. I love that. Yeah. And now you can't be stopped. Sign cleaning renegade. That's why I love that. I can't believe that you thought you were going to get into trouble for something like that.
Well, there's rules and regulations. And of course, it was a massive surprise when I got asked to Brian Welty, who was then the High Sheriff of Shropshire, to one of his afternoon teas in Telford, which is the equivalent to going to see the Queen. So I went down there, and then he decides to give out 6, I think it was, community awards, and he started talking about sign cleaning. I thought, oh, somebody else here, is it? And it was me, and I got this little badge and a certificate, and it was fantastic. And I thought, well, I didn't think people actually recognise this sort of thing, but obviously people do appreciate it. But anyway.
Well deserved.
Thank you.
There are lots of people that deserve recognition. I feel like the best way of putting that is there are people out there and go and do help, but I think it gets drowned by a lot of negativity. So it's nice to reward people when they get the opportunity to do so. I feel like you need to do that. Okay, so I want to talk about the day on Greyfriars, right? Because we need to focus on that. So how did you end up with Alex Wagner helping you, by the way?
Well, I'd met him the week before at the Bowmere Heath Festival, at the Fete the week before. I was sitting there, and he walked in, and I introduced myself, and I said, oh, I've actually restored the Bowmere Heath finger post sign. I spent all summer doing that. Well, 7 5-hour mornings in the most glorious weather and meeting the most fabulous people. And of course, on Wednesdays and Fridays, Bowmere Heath have a coffee cake morning between 10 and 1. It's fabulous, and it gets packed. And with the residents of Bowmere Heath and further apart. So I made sure that if I was going to do any cleaning out there on this sign, it was going to be on a Wednesday or a Friday to take advantage of that. They gave me free cake.
Cleaning and cake.
So I met him there, and he said, I'd like to get involved in this. I said, well, next week I'm going to do Greyfriars Bridge, the other side, the side near to Coleham. I'd done the stop.
Stop coffee, yeah.
The coffee stop place. I'd done that. That was the worst one. It was covered in graffiti. Our old friend Mr. Mex was there.
Well, we'll get into Mex in a bit. I'd love to know who he is.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people do. But they've got their own pages on Instagram and WhatsApp and stuff. And, it wouldn't be hard to find out who these people are. But I hold no malice against them. I understand. But, it's young men feeling their oats. And that's what they do. Years ago, what we used to do is get some dog poop in a plastic bag, stick it on somebody's front door and ring the bell. Oh, after we'd set fire to the bag, of course, and then the resident would come out and start stamping about, we'd piss ourselves laughing. But that's what, young men do. Some of these young men are now, by the way, in the 30s.
Yeah.
So, it's a hard thing to get out of.
So you get Alex meets you on the bridge.
Yes.
I arranged to meet you. I did a nice reel. That reel was really good, by the way. People really liked that.
Oh, good.
And between the three of us, we painted those iron boards. We did a really good job. I was there with a microphone, and I was recording interviews with Alex on the bridge, the mayor doing some great work, yourself. There was a great bit of audio that you gave. I said, John, why are we doing this? Because we can.
Because we can, yeah.
Because it's nice to show pride in our town, and that was really powerful. I think people really liked that. Got a couple thousand views on TikToks within the first hour of it being released, which was good. We went to House. Sam, thank you so much for letting us sit there and do that. Did an interview. Took the microphone home that night, or a couple of nights after. It was 2 nights afterwards because I had work. It was 2 nights afterwards. I then went to upload my audio from my microphone to my laptop. And I think what's happened is, as it's uploading, I thought it's done it like instantly because it normally does. So I've then gone to clear my microphone, and it hasn't switched over yet. It hasn't sent over yet. So what I've done is I've emptied my microphone before.
But it's a blessing, really, because I wouldn't be sitting here today.
I wouldn't have had 2 meetings. I get 2 postcards now. I think this is nicer anyway because since you've done Greyfriars Bridge, you've done the talk in Colham, and how was that for you, speaking to children?
It was pretty. I just automatically now I say yes to everything, and then I think about it afterwards. And Tracy Otten, the secretary at Colham School, she asked me 6 weeks before, and of course I said yes. And then I went along to meet her the week before, and she said, "Oh yes, they'll all come in, and there'll be 400 of 400 of them, ranging from the age of about 4 to 10." And I envisaged all these kids standing in front of me in the. But actually, no, they're so well behaved down at Colham School. Fabulous place. I wish my school had been like that. My geography teacher used to prod my head with a pen just to wake me up.
Back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day, in 1959, that'd have been, yeah. So, they were fantastic. They came in, they all sat on the floor. I was allowed to take my motorcycle in there, put the lights on, nearly blinded a couple of kids on the left. Actually, I had one of those false tattoo sleeves on, and I took it off for a joke, and I sort of threw it at this young lady at the front, young girl at the front who was about 4, and I think she was about to burst into tears.
She probably just peeled off your skin.
What I said to the headmaster, because I was wearing my muscle tee underneath, I said, "Well, do you think it'd be a good idea if we had that thing like I have on the television where you have to shout, 'Take it off, take it off'?" And he said, "I don't think it's appropriate, John. I'm sorry."
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have been really, but I did wear a sort of a muscle tee, but it's got a sort of waistcoat with a dicky bow, and it was a lot more sort of conservative.
Some of the questions that kids were asking, were they asking you some really interesting questions? Did they inspire you even?
Well, it wasn't a question and answers thing, because it was more of me talking to them about what I did and showing them the pictures. But it was a little bit concerning, because Tracy got on the thing that shows the slides all behind me, this massive screen, and then the headmaster came along and said, "Oh no, it's okay, we've got somebody to do that, it's all set up." So I start off and I look across, and there's like this 7-year-old at this keyboard. What could possibly go wrong? But anyway, he was fantastic. Some of these kids are so switched on with this, the internet stuff nowadays. It's incredible. If you want to know something about the internet, ask a 7-year-old.
I see. I think it's mad that so we got the youngsters now that were born with tablets and smartphones. Yeah. I'm a millennial, so I've gone from sort of like the no mobile thing to having all that. So we're kind of for that whole generation. Yeah. And then there's just the older generation. It's kind of like, it can be a shock sometimes, can't it? The changes in technology.
Well, my brother's in a care home on the Mount, and I've just set him up with an Alexa, a smart speaker, and he can't believe it. He's got a woman he can tell what to do.
I love that. We get asked to tell jokes and all sorts. There's funny voices. It's quite funny. It's quite crazy how far we've gone. I used to look at things like that and think Star Trek.
It's life that matters, we know it and all that.
So they did Colham. You didn't scare any kids. They donated some stuff to you as well.
£130. I mean, it brought me to tears, really, because they gave me this bucket full of cash, and when I put it in that machine at Asda, because they take a small percentage, there was still 130 quid left. I thought, wow. So I bought a load of paint to do Greyfriars Bridge. This is top of the range paint. Red brick paint, hopefully the British Rail, Network Rail.
Oh, you mean great? You mean Sutton Bridge?
Sutton, sorry.
Yeah, we said Greyfriars. Oh, yeah. We're not painting Greyfriars Bridge red. Don't worry, guys. No.
It's Sutton Bridge near the at the end of Sutton Lane. It's been graffitified, racist graffiti, and the council have come along and painted all over it red. And now there's more red paint on Sutton Bridge than there is actually bricks. So I've asked if we could I've made a Facebook page, Friends of Sutton Bridge, and there's probably 90 people on there now. And we should be able to get together one Saturday in October and paint the whole thing, clean up the commerce boxes, and make it a more pleasant, place for people to go and watch the trains.
I'd love to come along and offer my help. I feel like we could do is, I can get us some live music, no problem. Some hot food, barbecues. We can make a whole day of it.
Well, I know a guy called Stuart Altman who plays the bagpipes. And he can come across at 5 o'clock, open the thing up. We could cut a ribbon, get Alex Wagner out there to open it up with his chains around his neck. And by the way, I really like Alex Wagner. He's such a good sort to do what he does, and get out there and mix it, with the people.
I saw some comments about, he shouldn't be wearing chains with his T-shirt. And I was like, he'd just been painting a bridge. I think he can be let off. Alex is a great guy. He came on the podcast when I first came across him in like 2022, something like. He was like this 21, 22-year-old lad who's getting involved in politics. And I was like, that's an old man's game. I need to speak to this young whippersnapper and see what he's about. And he's just a nice guy. I see him about and we say hello now and again. Like, I don't like normally discuss politics on the podcast, but it's just nice to see young people getting involved in their local community. And
to balance it out, I went to a meeting at Bicton with Julia Buckley, the MP for Shrewsbury, just to see, what was going on around there. But it was if you ever get the chance to go to one of these meetings, it's an education as to what people like Julia Buckley know. She could reel off the stats and the stuff, and she had an answer for everybody, and people were coming at her. It was fantastic to see.
I interviewed her too because, again, like I have this knack for when it comes to politicians, for example. I've interviewed politicians from around the world. I like to speak about the people. What are these people like? Who are these people that are in our constituents like? And I interviewed Julia and we spoke about her and what her experience is and stuff. And she's just nice. She's just all right, isn't she? And I feel like that's what we forget when we talk about politics. People get angry and all left is this and all right is that. But these are human beings. They have children. They go home and they make dinner and they
I caught up with the first actually on the English Bridge. I was cycling across there and she was waiting for a bus on the other side of the road. I thought, I'm sure there's Julia Buckley. So I thought, I'll give it a go. I turned round and I pulled up and I went, hello, you know who I am, don't you? And she went, yeah, I know who you are as well. It was brilliant. We must have been there for about 20 minutes until she caught a bus and, had a great chat about graffiti and stuff. I thought, well, what a nice person.
She's invited me to do a day in her life with her. Go down to London and see what she does on the day.
Yeah.
I thought that'd be quite good, but it's like I didn't. When someone's doing their job and you don't want to be like, so what are you doing now? What's this do? Like, I don't want to be in the way. Bridge. So that's going to gain momentum then.
Hopefully, yeah.
You've been gifted some paint. Well, the Colham School.
From Colham School, I've already bought the paint.
So Colham School, you're going to be responsible for that paint looking amazing by those donations. So thank you for that. And we've got to talk about the beautiful cream wall that you've just painted.
Oh, yes. Raven Meadows. Somebody said, can you do something with that awful footway bridge thing by Raven Meadows? You walk along there to the bus station. They use it as a toilet of a night. And, of course, I went around there to have a look. And I couldn't believe the graffiti on the wall. It's been on there for years, some of it has. And there was some racist stuff on there. I'm assuming it was racist or sexist because the council had put a great big red splodge right across it. So I went out there last week and first of all bleached down, put a hoe across it, scraped out all the muck out the corners. I nearly retched. Yeah. And then swept it all out. It cost me £11 to park on the car park at Raven Meadows there, that slopey one.
Atrocious, yeah.
£2 an hour, would you believe? But that was the closest place to it. And then I blocked off all the graffiti with Magnolian paint when I had breakfast at the Alb, which the owner of the Alb, had gifted me. Absolutely brilliant. Thank you, owner of the Alb. I forget his name there. But I had a nice breakfast, got back, and all the paint had dried, so then I could go across it with a roller. And by 12 o'clock, it was done. The whole thing was done from beginning to end in 5 hours. And I must say, it looks great. I check it every night in case somebody's re-tagged it. Because you know what's going to happen when it's re-tagged, don't you? I'm going to get out there and over-tag it. I'm just waiting for him to do that.
I've just asked you this. I always call it round the kettle talk, but I did ask you: has anybody retagged any of your stuff that you've painted over?
No, and I think although Ewan Gribble Meller will disagree with me, there's something called the broken window principle, whereby if you've got something that looks run down and unused and uncared for, it will get tagged. But it looks as though somebody owns it and cares for it. It most likely won't. And these guys, respect to them, the taggers of Shrewsbury, they don't seem to go back and re-tag anything, or perhaps they just don't check. Perhaps they're just too cool for Facebook. But I know there's a few of them on my page, because occasionally I'll get some negative remarks and I go into their Facebook page and then I'll see all this graffiti on there and I think, yes, there we are. There's a tagger, so after he gets blocked. You've got to be mean with these geezers.
You're like Bruce Wayne in a way. You kind of there's this anti-hero kind of anti-graffiti thing, and there's the sordid, seedy graffiti thing in the background. You're Batman, they're Joker.
Did you ever see that film Falling Down with Michael Douglas?
Yeah.
Well, that's me.
I hope not. That's miles being.
Well, not so extreme, but
I love that film so much because we can all relate, can't we?
Yeah. Shrewsbury's a medieval town, and it needs to stay that way. When people get off that railway train, they don't want to see a load of. If you turn left when you come out the railway station and go up those steps onto the Darner passage there, you'll see the most horrendous stuff. And unfortunately, we haven't fathomed out a way of dealing with it yet. But that's not the sort of thing. If somebody's going on a prison escape, one of those prison ghost tours, and they turn left and go up there, they'll wonder what the hell they've come to, because it's not a good look.
There was a good push to clean up the Darner footbridge, which it ended up looking nice because that was graffitied, and it would always flood as well. I think it still does flood. So when I was working with the outreach team, I can talk about now because I wasn't there, I'm not there anymore. We used to do outreach every morning and support the rough sleepers. And I'd walk that Darner footpath and down past. And I'd look at some of the graffiti and read some of it sometimes, because some of it is like there's lots of words of powerful messages and stuff.
Yes.
And I feel like some of it obviously is tagging, but is it when it comes to you looking at graffiti, do you find it easy to decipher what is art?
Yes.
And what is just crap?
Absolutely. I was in Barcelona a couple of months ago, and you've got some great graffiti art there, and also a little bit up the side of Asda. If anybody wants to go up the side of Asda, you'll see some beautiful pieces of graffiti up there. But, it's art. It's not tags. These tags on comms boxes, it's just irritating, and it's private property. It's antisocial behaviour. When I was in Barcelona gazing up at the, is it called a Sagrada Familia or something? That thing with all the steeples on. And I looked back, and there was a massive sign went across 3 lampposts, and it read, "Respect your city. Penalty for antisocial behaviour, €500." And I thought, well, perhaps that's what Shrewsbury needs.
Yeah, more than a slap on the wrist.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's so low down in the priority list, graffiti. But I say, if you want to create a medieval town, which of course Shrewsbury is, you better make sure that when the visitors come, that's what they see.
Yeah, and I feel like at the moment, the current climate, we're going to see lots of political stuff popping up.
Oh, yeah.
And I do remember, actually, the first time I went to Bogota, my wife's from Colombia, so we went to Bogota and we met my wife's cousin. Big shout out to Jimena. She won't listen to this, but she did the tour, showed us around places that we wanted to see in Bogota, and she really wanted to show us this. It's like a mile of graffiti walls, but all political, powerful messages. And I think it's famous, this yes. mile of graffiti in Bogota, and it was amazing to see some of the work there was just mind blowing. And of course, in Shrewsbury, we've got Disney is a famous graffiti artist. He's done a couple of cool little bits in Shrewsbury, and then we've got Matt Sewell with his birds. He's a great guy, very down to earth. Been on the podcast a couple of times. Charlotte Tisdale, she's done a few bits as well down. You mentioned the hill earlier. What's it called? The one down the
Belmont Bank.
Belmont. Yeah, she's done bits there. And then the Saffron Russell, and then there's the BT boxes that they did as well. They were commissioned. There are places for it on there, and it's a shame when people come and ruin that by writing 3 or 4 letters in cheap paint over it.
Yeah. I mean, the one guy, I won't name him, he knows who he is. He likes to tag with normal household paint, and it all dribbles down.
It dribbles?
It dribbles. It's not the proper stuff. It's just, and it all dribbles. There was one particular, he did it on Millbrace Island there. Why do they call it 9 yards? What's that about?
I have no idea. I love how they like rebranded it and it's brand new. People in Shrewsbury, I mean, come on, you got to. It says 9 yards and this beautiful and brand new sign, and there's like half the letters aren't working. So it just says 9.
Who decided that? There's 80,000. Is it 80 or 70,000 people in Shrewsbury? Who voted for that one?
No idea.
I mean, 9. Who calls it 9? I must pop out to 9 yards and do a bit of shopping. Nobody.
Yeah. That's 9 yards how much you move an hour on a Saturday. Yes. I'm not looking forward to having a KFC right on the corner there, I've got to say.
Yes,
KFC
I did ask the other night, I was meeting with the Verges and Hedges team at the Prince of Wales, and I did say, what's that about? And they said it's Kentucky, and is it a care home that's going to be there?
Another care home?
Yeah, I know. Talking about care homes, my brother's in one on the Mount, which is a very nice oldie worldy place. One of the cheapest in Shrewsbury, would you believe? At £1,500 a week.
Let's see.
And if you want to go in the Limes, you'll find it'll be £1,800 a week, and the prices go up from there. So sell your house, folks, if you haven't got a decent.
I have been over to the Limes here next door.
Yes,
to us.
yes, beautiful.
Nice staff actually. We've. They asked me to come and do some stuff for Christmas because they open up Christmas and Easter. What they tend to do is they open it up so the young people can do like egg hunts and meet Santa and things like that, and get like the kids in amongst from the community. And it's nice. But yeah, I'm not looking forward to getting old because it's that expensive now. Imagine what's going to be.
It's great being old because you get away with things. I mean, I'm 72 now, and I seem to get away with things because I'm old.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you,
pretty sure it is.
Are you taking more and more liberties with that?
I am, yeah. I mean, painting the bridge going over to the Raven Meadows, the struts for that is going to be quite a challenge, but as long as nobody doesn't come along and arrest me, I'm quite sure it's going to be better than the alternative, what we've got now.
What are the biggest sort of challenges for you though when it comes to doing stuff like that? Because these are big jobs, and your jobs seem to be getting bigger and bigger, more elaborate. Yeah,
I'm getting bolder as well.
Yeah.
As long as nobody puts me into check and reels me in, I'm going to carry on doing these.
Have you bitten off more than you can chew yet?
No, I don't think so. Well, one or two things. I mean, that one out at Millbrace Island, I got rid of this chap and with his runny paint. And then as I got through all the graffiti with the Graffiti Go product that I use, nothing to do with that, by the way. I've just the best stuff I've found. It's non-toxic. But I found underneath there was some black paint, and the council had black painted over another tag underneath. So what should have took 20 minutes actually took an hour and a half. But I've been offered a couple of deals, sponsorship, but I've turned them down because I don't want anybody else's, name on my back. Occasionally, people ask if they could, provide a few quid for product, which I accept and give them my backs. But I must mention Robin Bennett. Now, Robin was so enraged by graffiti along the riverside, all the way down from English Bridge down to the weir there, that he provides me with 4 packs of Graffiti Go 500ml squeezy bottles at £13 a pack. So we're talking about £52 worth arrive from Amazon on my door every month. So thank you very much, Robin.
That's
As we
really
work
nice.
together, we call ourselves Buffman and Robin.
Buffman.
He gets dressed up in a Robin costume. It's hilarious. We did the prison walls, by the way. Got free tickets to the prison for doing that. Got rid of the graffiti around there.
Is there anything that you're looking at that you're like, oh, I'd love to get my hands on that?
No, I mean, things crop up and people mention things and I go and have a look and I think, oh, that'd be interesting. So I build my Friday morning around doing that, perhaps with a few little bits and pieces. But what bugs me is when people put these fly posters up with normal wallpaper paste, and they don't take them down. And it looks really grubby and horrible. So that's going to be tomorrow morning.
That's like something we've just grown to accept. That's always been done since I've been alive.
Yes.
If there's a circus rocking up into town, or if there's a band playing at a place, and then I go to another one around town,
It never gets removed, and it just makes the whole place look a bit tired. So anyway, I ain't having it.
No, I ain't having it. I think what you're doing is fantastic. Is there something that you're going to move on from this, because you've evolved from
Death is the next thing. I'm 72 now. I'm going to be able to drive around, charge around. And
I have painted my last. I've cleaned my last side. No, I mean, what I mean is, like, you've gone from obviously the signposts to graffiti. Now you're painting things. Where do you think that's going to progress next? Because it is evolving from one thing to another.
I don't know. I really don't know. I'm open to whatever's next, but I certainly want to carry on doing this. There's loads to do in Shrewsbury concerning graffiti, and occasionally I'll find the odd one sign I've missed. I've noticed a few out near Battlefield up there. I'm not going to go on the bypass because it's too dangerous.
Sure.
Although I do have public liability insurance now, care of Robin Bennett again. But
don't be hanging off the bridge off Hampshire. Don't be doing that.
Somebody said, "Why can't you do the one on the M6 on the gantry?"
One of the legs on the Chirk Aqueduct is
yeah.
we fancy abseiling down there.
Funny enough, I did Chirk. I went out to Chirk to do the Shrewsbury boundary sign one morning last year in the winter, and then I went into Chirk to have breakfast, and I noticed the signs in Chirk were filthy. So I did the whole of the high street for them and put it on their Facebook page, and they thought it was marvellous.
I love this. I mean, you could go anywhere with this, couldn't you? Because like you could go on holiday, for example, I don't know, we mentioned Madrid earlier, and imagine you I don't know, you clean up the signs in a quarter of Madrid, and all of a sudden you become the superstar, rock star. Like you could create like a real big buzz, and that's what we did on Greyfriars Bridge. 3 guys just stood there painting, and people were stopping and talking. People were watching. We had the reporters there. Was there somebody from the reporters? Was there somebody from?
I don't know.
Was it just me?
No, it's just you that was there that day.
It's only me.
Yeah.
I know you've been in the Shropshire Star lots of times, though, haven't you?
Yes, I have. Actually, the last month I've been in twice. Once for the talk at the school there, and the other one was for Raven Meadows. Yeah, that was another one. So Shropshire Star is my friend. Yeah.
I don't think me and Shropshire Star get on very well. I think for a while they thought I was probably an arch nemesis to them because they're printed media and I'm. Do you know what I mean? So, but I've been in My Shrewsbury this month, which is nice. They did a nice article because we've been nominated for the national award, which is great. Which is by the time this podcast goes out, the award ceremony will have happened by now. So I'm either like really, really happy or still really, really happy because it's still in the top 6 in the UK, which is still pretty awesome, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's nice to be recognised for your achievements. You're going to have lunch with the High Sheriff. You come on the amazing Shrewsbury Biscuit. You're going on BBC Radio Shropshire, and you're doing all these amazing things. How hard is it for you to fit your head through the door now with all this so amazing?
It's not easy. It's not easy because I sort of almost live from one Friday to the next.
Are you developing a bit of an ego?
Oh, a bit.
Turns up at Colum School going, I want jammy Dodgers broken in half. That's what I want.
It's been a real buzz, to be honest with you, to be part of this movement. Really, I didn't know that I was the only one doing it in Shropshire, but now there's a few other people that turn up and lend a hand.
There was a guy that turned up at Greyfriars, wasn't there, going, how can I help?
Yes, and he couldn't because, of course, you guys had all the paintbrushes. So he went out and did a sign, a really filthy sign at near Roden, at a junction near Roden. But I've been keeping for myself, and I couldn't believe he did this. I thought, oh no, that was my rainy day sign. It was just before Roden. There was a little crossroads there with a filthy finger post sign there. But anyway, every little helps, and I'm just grateful to the people that do come out and help, because it's great to have. And now I've got this playlist and Spotify.
Tell me about that. What is that? So you're making a playlist for other people to listen to?
Well, what I've got to do, I've got this great, I spent about 300 quid a few years ago on one of those smart speaker things, so I can set up my phone and have my playlist coming out for this. So now, as well as seeing me, with my Muscle T, you'll be able to listen to my favourite music as I'm cleaning whatever it is I'm cleaning, as you wonder what the hell that motorbike's doing on.
He's there in his hot levers, doing community service, and he's a DJ.
I had one particular traffic warden, when I was up at St Mary's doing the bus stop there. Excuse me, you can't park there. This is a restricted area. But I'm doing this. I don't care. She said, it's a restricted area. So I tried to give her my calling card. She said, I can't touch that. There's cameras all around. I can't touch that. I said, but I'm doing it. She said, round the corner, you can park for 15 minutes. I thought, oh, good job, I'd just finished. So I finished and rode off. But of course, there's a certain intolerance. You can get away with so much, but there's still rules. Rules must be obeyed.
Absolutely, and people are protective of their space anyway, aren't they? And you talk about how people are living as individuals in their own little bubbles at the moment, not really paying attention to their locality and what's around them. And we're talking about having pride in your town, and I feel like you're bursting people's bubble in a positive way. That group that you've created now, I've seen that on that group, people are like doing before and after shots. And they're going out and
I do joke with them. Actually, I've got quite harsh and bullying now because people just say, "I've done this," and there's a picture. I say, "Where's the before?" If it's no before picture, it didn't happen.
Yeah, no, you didn't.
Oh, I forgot. Well, damn sure next time you've got a before and after.
There was a lady that did, there was a T junction or a cul-de-sac, and I think she coloured in the T.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, that's so sweet. Like,
yeah.
She just wanted to put the little red
Sandra Brown, I think she's...
Hi, Sandra.
I can't remember where she is now, but she lives in this little village, and she goes around re-establishing all the signs, paints them white and black, and all the little letters and things, and she posts pictures of that on there, and it makes a big difference because a lot of these signs are worn out and careworn. What frustrates me is that a lot of the signs in Shrewsbury, the road signs, are plastic, and you can't clean them. The letters are behind the plastic, and they're sort of sun damaged.
Oh, yeah.
But you do come across things like that. They're just uncleanable, but most of them are okay. Yeah.
Oh, it's nice. Yeah, it's really nice to be part of a community, I think, especially like at the moment I'm obsessed with a musician called Ren. I talked about him loads on the podcast simply because I think he's hit the sweet spot when it comes to mental health and issues going out in the world right now, and he's just I think he's probably one of the best rappers in the world, never mind the UK. And just to be part of those communities, he's releasing a new song later with the Skinner Brothers, and everybody's going to sit on YouTube and he's going to play it live, and they're all going to chat together. And that excitement, I'm not going to do that. I've got things to do. Yeah. But like just to be a part of that is really nice. And you've created that for people. I mean, like there's probably people sat at home that were like, nothing to do, just sitting there like, no. Now they can go out and be part of this community and go like, all right, there's this thing I want to do. I'm going to cut this hedge from around this thing. I'm going to post it, and I'm going to.
Hedges are great. I mean, there's so many hedges that overhanging onto pavements, and people think, "Oh, why don't they cut the hedge?" Well, it could be an elderly person who can't cut the hedge. Why not just knock on the door and say, "Hello, I just wondered if would you like me to cut your hedge?" It might be some idle bugger, but it could well be some person who's in a wheelchair or just can't get out there to do it. Just offer to do it. You get such a buzz doing stuff like that.
I like to be positive on the Shrewsbury Biscuit. I know that the council are doing this levelling up thing where they're clearing these hedges, and there's the as you talk about 9 yards going up to that Meal Brace roundabout, there's that cycle path, and it's like it goes over a bridge that goes into the Rebrook, and it is overgrown. I've been down there on a bike, and I've gone, it only takes one whack from a branch and you're falling off this bridge.
I've been wiped across the face by thorn bushes. I used to cycle from by the cinema out to Whitchurch Road every day, there and back, and you only get one growth spurt, and you've got a thorn bush hanging over, and you'll be wiped across the face with that.
It just winds me up, though. How has it got to that point in the first place? Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what annoys me.
The majority of people, of course, are riding around in cars. They don't see that. They don't see any of that. Yeah. They don't see the overgrown verges and the the cycle paths going around bends where the actual the walking bit is so overgrown that you've got to walk onto the cycle path.
Yeah.
Now you get one geezer coming around on an illegal e-bike at 30 miles an hour, there's going to be a tremendous clatter, isn't there? You know, if somebody's going to finish up in the road. And that's another thing, scooters, illegal e-bikes and all this stuff, all using these cycle tracks. It's just mind-boggling, really. There's just doesn't seem to be any accountability. I know the police have got a job to do, but until somebody gets seriously injured, and then there'll be a clampdown. But you know, that's it. Everybody wants their Deliveroo, so
they want their Deliveroo. We do love a good Deliveroo. I think I was talking about how I think it'd be a really good idea. I've just floated this idea to you. Like, I think we should get you to do a nice wall somewhere, clear it up, and then get Matt Sewell right behind you.
Yes.
To start a mural straight afterwards. Maybe we can speak to the council or original Shrewsbury Bid, get a commission for a mural done where you've... Because, like, do you know what? It annoys me. I'm trying to be positive, but you try and do something positive like that. You plan something like the Pigeon Bridge, or we call it Pigeon Ship Bridge.
Pigeon Ship Bridge.
Yeah. And they want to do this nice mural because the roads, whatever's going on with the roads, they're trying to make a difference. And I get the frustrations. I've been in that traffic myself. I know what it is, but I do think the road kind of works a little bit better now. If you indicate on that island as you're going right under the... Anyway, they wanted to do a mural just to make it look a bit nicer, and yet all you see in the comments were complaints and
well, that'll give us something to look at while we're waiting at the traffic lights.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, you can do something positive, and you've already mentioned that people complain about, oh, that's what I pay my council tax for. Do you go into those comments? Do you take that to heart? Do you?
Yes. No, I do, simply because being a bit more educated now, because I was one of the ones that used to talk like that. You know, that's what I pay my council tax for. Well, new day, dear. You know, the council's broke. You know, there was a time when we used to do all this stuff ourselves before we gave the job to the councils and paid for that. But unfortunately, from what I understand, 4 out of 5 of our pounds is now going into social care, people that can't look after themselves. And of course, there's people that won't look after themselves. But that's a contentious issue. You're not allowed to say there's people work in the system, but I know there are. But we've just got to put up with that. Most of our money is now going into social care. So there's no money left for sign cleaning of these little bits and pieces, so we're going to have to do it ourselves.
So listen, Darren, whoever you are.
Yes.
There's nobody called Darren, by the way, in the comments. There's just a random name and pull out the air. So if there's somebody on the comments called Darren who's taking offence to that, it was just random. But we'll roll up your sleeves and go and clean some signs and go and get in your community and help.
Anything at all. Just, you know, try and help somebody or it sounds a bit trite, doesn't it? But you get a terrific buzz from these people. And people can't believe you're doing it. You know, great. Who pays you for it? Nobody pays me. I just do it myself. I don't want sponsoring. As I say, I don't want somebody's name on my back. Or, you know, just products occasionally would help.
You don't need sponsorship these days. I feel like there are opportunities for a little bit of social media coverage. You know, a couple of posts, a couple of photos, a nice video, and then share that a couple of times, and that'll boost their page, boost you, and get you donations. You know what I mean? You don't need to have someone's name on your back.
No, I mean, if you want a job, offer to do it for free for a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
But I mean, if Dulux came around the corner and were like, "Yo,"
whoa.
do you know what I mean? I don't think you'd say no then. You'd be like, would you like $250,000? Yes. Okay. That's different.
Yeah. Take that to the bank.
Absolutely. Have you got anything else that you've missed? I know you've got some notes there. Is there anything that you want to talk about?
No, I think, Aaron McLachlan at the Shrewsbury Men's Shed is making me a stencil template with Shrewsbury and a heart. So I'm going to be putting my own graffiti on stuff when I've cleaned off and stuff.
It's mural art, definitely.
Yes. And Jim Jarvis of Jarvis Scaffold has offered to pay for the blue and yellow paint to do the bridge set up out to the council house as it goes over into Raven Meadows. That needs painting blue and yellow.
They've got the scaffolding, haven't they, up the column at the bottom?
Yeah, what a fantastic... That's a piece of art, isn't it?
I'm so glad they're doing that, because they had the railings around there for a bit, and there's all like weeds growing out of the struts and stuff, and it's kind of like, oh, You know what I mean? Ugh, welcome to Shrewsbury.
I know.
Like, but now I feel like they're going to put some love into it, which is very encouraging. Now, I do want to cover that. But I've got a feeling that if I offer to cover that with whoever is renovating that, they might invite me on the scaffolding, to which I may die.
Yes.
I've been on top of that column before, and I was wearing a hat, as I always do, and the wind took my hat, and I had to stop myself from trying to grab it, and it blew into the car park at Shire Hall. Some lady got it for me, but I was up on top of the column, and my hat blew off, and I don't like heights.
No.
I've interviewed on top of the column Hawkston Park Follies, the same sort of height, and on top of Shrewsbury Abbey. I've done some mad stuff like that, but yeah. If I do that, if I do the column, I reckon they'll invite me up on the scaffolding, to which, I'll definitely have a heart attack.
There's always a negative to everything. You noticed the statue in the square there, Clive, and I got up close and personal with it and cleaned some of the base, the granite. And I noticed all the little flicks of gold paint in the word Clive. So I thought, So I got some acrylic paint and I repainted the Clive on the actual thing. It looked great. And then somebody said, "You shouldn't have done that. He was a slave driver. They should take that statue away." I thought, oh my God. There's always you can't deny history, can you? Things that happened years ago, perhaps they had a different outlook on things. But of course, that's what happened.
Well, half of Liverpool's named after those slave traders. It's mad. I feel like something like Hot Clive, I feel like it's almost like a reminder of how bad things can get.
Were,
It's like you can stick Clive wherever in the museum there, chuck it in a dock. I don't know. I don't care. Just let's not forget that history. If it's important, leave it where it is, where people can see it. I think you're doing a great service to Shrewsbury. I'm so proud to have people like you in our town that are making this town better. It gives me purpose to keep going. I don't make any I don't hide any of the fact that it's been really difficult over the last few weeks with job changes and things that's going on. It's been really hard to sort of tread water and keep going with the show, but getting people like yourself on the show, it just makes it easier. So thank you so much for the inspiration. If you want more people on the group to get out there and clean signs, where can they find that?
Well, I've got my own Facebook page now since getting kicked off of studying Shropshire. But it's Sign and Graffiti Cleaning Enthusiasts UK, and you just come on there, see what we do, see the before and after pictures, and ask questions. How do I do this? What products do I use? And stuff like that. And perhaps you'll be inspired to have a go out in your own area, wherever you are.
I'd love it if people listen to this podcast, and I'm not trying to take any credit for the work that the people in that group are doing, but just on the strength of listening to this episode, if you've gone out and done a sign, just tag the Shrewsbury Biscuit in it as well. Send it over, and we'll see if this podcast has done a good job in creating some new sign cleaners. And also, please follow the Sutton Bridge group as well, because
Friends of Sutton Bridge Facebook group.
Because that would be really good, and then we can move that onto wherever it needs to go. But John, thank you so much for joining me again on the Shrewsbury Biscuit. We'll get this one on.
Don't press the wrong button this time.
It's recording. I can see it. It's there. It exists in the world, and that's got a really good hard drive on it as well, so it won't go anywhere.
Brilliant.
Anyway, thank you so much for joining me, guys. Don't go anywhere. I've got a few bits just to wrap up at the end, but thank you so much for chatting to me, John.
Thank you, Alex.
Cheers.
Thank you so much, John, for being such a great guest on the podcast. Really cool of you to come around and do that a second time. I want to just make sure the volume's down on my phone while I check this. I wanted to give a shout out to CrossFit's Shropshire, who give me a bit of a shout out on their social media recently. They are starting a podcast called Shropshire Strong Quickcast. Genius idea. So basically 11 minute long podcasts that you can just grab on the go. I like that. I mean, I prefer my long form audio. We did biscuit crumbs for a little bit. That was Julie's idea, and that worked really well. But I can't be bothered going and getting small bits and then editing and releasing them. I used to do that for the radio a while ago, but I like doing long form chats. Those are my best kind of things. But Shropshire Strong Quickcast, they are doing that very well, actually. So if you want short form podcasts, look for the Shropshire Strong Quickcast. is my shout out to you guys. All the best. I'll try and wean my way onto there so I can have a quick cast with them. Yeah, John, great guy. Make sure you please follow on the social media that he's mentioned. The Sutton Bridge thing, I think, is a fantastic idea, and it just shows what he's all about, really. He's all about community, and if we could all come together, like follow the Friends of Sutton Bridge, and get involved. If anybody knows got any paint, or if anybody has any tools, or I'm thinking like, let's make a day of it. I mean, I don't want to take over John's thing, but I'm saying this, like, I think it's really good not just to go out and paint a bridge, but really get the community involved, because what that does is it encourages the community to get stuck in and have pride in the town, but it's also an up yours to the people that are causing those problems, or the people that aren't helping, if you know what I mean, if you catch my drift. Like, we can do this together, we don't need you. And also follow the group. It's got 3.7 thousand followers. Sign and Graffiti Cleaning Enthusiasts UK, and like John's mentioned, people are going out and they're doing their own thing. I'm just on it now. John's done his thing there, but there are people cleaning their own signs. He's talking about the before and after in that episode. Somebody's done it before, during, and after. So, and they're following his lead. It's just incredible to see. And this is people from all around the UK. So again, finally, that is Sign and Graffiti Cleaning Enthusiasts UK. Give them a follow. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If this is your first time listening, please give us a follow on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Give us a follow on your favourites, or on all, if you want to do that. That's really good. You can also go to our website, which is the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast.co.uk, and that is lovingly made for us by our friends at Web Orchard. If you need a website for whatever it is you do in this life of ours, they will make the perfect website for you. They really do look after us there. So make sure, if you do go to Web Orchard and you do want a web package off them, you just tell them the Shrewsbury Biscuit sent you. You know what I mean? Give us a bit of a pat on the back next time I see Pete. Right, guys, I'm going to go. Thank you so much for tuning in. The next episode, I don't even know what the next episode is. I've been speaking to lots of people. We got in touch with Lucy Cadell again, who's been on the podcast a couple of times. She's got something going on at the Salton Hall. Again, there's another place we were supposed to go and do another feature. Like, these are so many things that we should be doing. And also Tanner's Wines, I'm speaking to Jules Brewery. I want to try and get them on the podcast. The Shrewsbury Town Female Focus. We spoke to them briefly at the open day at Shrewsbury Town. They want to do a feature as well. Gateway Gallery have got in touch. They want to do something. And I want to give a shout out to Josh and Charlotte. They're called the Shropshire Swillers on Instagram. Now, what they're trying to do is they're trying to plan a pint in every single pub in Shropshire, which is quite the task. I've got to say, there's lots and lots of pubs in Shropshire, but I invited them to come for a couple of pints. We can bring the H6. I will get it to work next time, and we can go to a couple of pubs. I can introduce them. So if you want me to take these Instagram people around your pub and you want to do an interview, just give me a shout. I'll come out. There's a few people that I'm speaking to at the moment. I'm going to get some really cool content for you soon. So anyway, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll catch you on the next. Have a great day. Peace out.